would like to invite on stage Mr. Viren Mathuria, who is founder and CEO for Locaxion. Please welcome him on stage with a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Viren Mathuria, and we're going to talk a little bit about RTLS, real-time location systems. Before I start, I'll do a little bit of an introduction. I see still some people trying to come in and out. The way I like to define myself a little bit about this is, in the last 15 plus years, since 2008, I have deployed real-time location systems, smart factory initiatives for world's top 10 automotive OEMs and top 3 aerospace OEMs. This is something that I like to brag about a little bit, but my claim to fame is always, I helped BMW reduce 1 second from their final assembly process 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And the second claim to fame that I brag about is I worked on the Airbus A380 project in Toulouse, where we brought 3 pieces of an airplane, the world's largest airplane, of course, in one place, tracking their movement across 3 continents in real time. Enough about me, but I hope all of you here are wondering, what is this RTLS? What is a real-time location system? And more importantly, why should I care about it? The simplest definition is it's an indoor GPS. There's nothing better to define an RTLS rather than saying it's an indoor GPS. But if you would add to it a little bit more, you would say it's an indoor GPS on steroids. Sub-meter accuracy, sub-second fidelity on an industrial shop floor. Physically, it looks like anchors or sensors on your shop floor ceiling. This is what I'm talking about right here. These are your sensors on your shop floor. And anything that is of value to be tracked, people, pallets, forklifts, anything, you put tags on it, or sometimes you don't even need to put tags on it. But this is how you track anything on your shop floor using a real-time location system. If you talk about the digital experience of a real-time location system, it could look something like this. When the asset moves on your shop floor, in the physical world, the digital asset moves with it. Anything that moves in the physical world, an RTLS will move it in the digital world. Now, hopefully, the question again comes to your mind is, why should I care about it? What is the value as a head of innovation, as a head of digitalization, as, I don't know, smart factory, industrial head? What is the value for me knowing about the location of my assets on the shop floor? Why should I actually care about this? And this answer is what I hope you will come to at the end of this presentation. 10 minutes max. I hope to not give you a sales pitch. It should be an educational session, so if it becomes a sales pitch, please raise your hand and tell me to stop. I would appreciate that. This is all about understanding what this location data can do for you, but hold that thought before we go in further. Before we go further, I would like to talk a little bit about the strategic importance of location data, or RTLS, on your shop floor. I met a bunch of you people already today, and most of the groups that I saw were C-level executives. If it's a C-level executive group, from your vantage point, I think this slide makes a lot more sense to spend about 1 to 2 minutes max on this. It was about 2007 when ultra-wideband or RTLS ultra-wideband systems started being used in industrial settings. A real-time location system used in industrial setting. The first company to use this on their factory floors was BMW. 2011, I was in Munich in front of the global innovation director for BMW, and my ask was, I have deployed this RTLS system in Regensburg, in Munich, in Spartanburg, in US, and now I'm working in deploying this in Tichy in China. Can you standardize RTLS as a technology of choice for BMW worldwide? And his answer is what inspires this slide here. He said, Viren, look, any new technology, any emerging tech, I look at it in 3 layers, and I evaluate it layer by layer. If the answer is yes, I would consider it. So the very top layer, he said, is standards. 2011, again, blank. There was nothing. He's like, my answer is no. The second layer, he said players in the market, OEMs, manufacturers. And at that time, there were only two names in the market, Ubisense and Zebra. I used to work for Ubisense out of Cambridge, London at that time. And he said, we've tried Zebra. I met with the Zebra folks here already today. But he's like, it's a black box system. So you practically have monopoly in the market today with Ubisense. So my answer is no. And the very last layer is chip makers. And he said, there's no chip makers in 2007, 2010, 2011. My answer is no on all three fronts. So sorry, we will not standardize this technology at BMW. 2018, you might be wondering what Apple is doing here. But 2018, Apple announced officially, they said, we will do RTLS in our phones. You know it as AirTags. A lot of things happened in the background. They acquired a bunch of small companies and stuff like that to consolidate the supply chain in 2014, 2015, before they did anything. But as soon as Apple announced that, everything from your Cisco access points to your Crown, Lindy, Raymond forklifts, your Volkswagens, your JLRs, your Cisco, Atlas Copco tools, many, many things started to come with embedded RTLS chips, real-time location system-enabled devices from the OEMs. The industry went from having 0 standards to 4 standards in 3 years. And we as an industry went from making a few million of ultra-wideband chips to a few billion in 3 years. What you see here, this is what we call it as a formation of a mainstream technology. It took Wi-Fi a good 16 years, and a total of 24 years to get to this formation. I talked to a few of you today, and I was asking you the question, saying if 10 years ago I was standing in front of you, and I would have said, you will not be able to do manufacturing without Wi-Fi, you would have laughed at me. You would have said I was just joking or I was kidding. Today, none of you will laugh. You cannot do manufacturing without Wi-Fi. If there's anyone here that says you can do manufacturing without Wi-Fi, I would be laughing at that point. This is exactly where we are with real-time location systems, with location data. Today, it's an optional technology. None of you have RTLS in your budgets today. But in the next 5 to 7 years, without location data, location intelligence, you will be falling behind your competitors. In 2024, a Deloitte survey showed about 67% of the executives already have some shape or form of an RTLS project in their budgets, actively, ongoing. So if you're not there in the next 5 to 7 years, you will remember this conversation. You'll be playing catch-up at that point. Now, let's come back to the question that we had, right? Why I, as an executive, should care about RTLS. Why should I worry about this location data? And I'll answer this with a simple example or a story. In 2007, as I was saying, BMW decided to track every single car on their shop floor with ultra-precision, real-time update rate with the so-called GPS on steroids. It seems like a very basic automation project, if you would think about it. But it was anything but basic. Knowing the exact location of every car with a sub-centimeter accuracy on the shop floor enabled them to hyper-automate every station at a custom level. This allowed them to build the world's first flexible assembly line with multiple models of cars on the same line, which allowed them to beat any of their competition in the market to adapt to the rising demands of the consumers. The consumers started to ask for customized cars, a batch size of 1. This is what they wanted, and the real-time, ultra-precise location data enabled this batch size of 1 in 2010, 2011 for BMW. They left their competition way behind, but since then, all top 10 automotive OEMs today have been using this for about a decade and a half already in their automotive shop floor plants. All aerospace OEMs are using this already in their shop floors. The next thing I kept saying was location data and location intelligence. I think it's important to differentiate between the two as well. In the interest of education rather than a sales pitch, I will do a short video. A simple video that will allow me to explain what location data is versus location intelligence. What you see on the left, this right here, is raw location data. This could be your pallets, this could be your people, this could be your forklifts, AGVs, AMRs, you can imagine anything. You can take that data and convert it into real-time live heat maps, spaghetti diagrams, OEE charts, uptime, downtime usage, dwell time, cycle time, standardized work measurements, you name it. This is what it converts it into, basically. This plant is Volkswagen in Bratislava. They started in COVID with a hyper turnover of employees, forklift drivers. And they said, hey, we have a digital twin. Why don't we start training our people in digital twin environments to reduce that risk that comes with new employees riding forklifts on the shop floor? Then they decided we can even do training of picking and kitting and all these other operations on our shop floor in the digital world. Why not use it for that? They added one more application. Fast forward 4 years. The innovation executive at Volkswagen said, why do my forklift drivers have a point A to point B driving distance? Why can't I assign them a job like an Uber where they accept the job, gives them turn-by-turn directions, avoiding traffic congestion on the shop floor, avoiding any other situations, and going from point A to point B in the most accurate, fastest way? And by the time they reach there, can I already have a next job lined up that is specific to that area that they are in, specific to the forklift they're sitting in and what jobs they're trained to do, basically, just by location data. If you know the driver, who it is, if you know what certifications he has, if you know what type of forklift it is, if you know what part of plant he is in, you could do a lot more with this real-time location awareness, converting that data into intelligence. One more example. In this video, I won't go too deep. It's a very simple example of a customer going from location data to intelligence. The customer said, we have a paper Kanban system, and we want to go away from paper Kanban to a digital Kanban. That's it. That was the only requirement for this project. And they started working on this by saying, how can I digitize my Kanban cards? It's a little slow video. It takes a little bit of time. It's Toyota, again, Toyota Peugeot, if you would be very specific. But every pallet that they had on their shop floor, they put a location tag on it, about 3,000 pallets, specifically speaking. If the pallet is here, it is inventory, in stock. Every system on the shop floor, ERP, MES, WMS, everything knows this is a pallet in stock. The moment a forklift picks it up and loads it into a cassette to do the welding for the car body, it goes from inventory to consumed without anybody pressing a single button. The only trigger is the change of location of that pallet. Physical change in the location is what triggers the pallet. Now it lets the ERP, the MES, the weld shop planning system, everything know we have one less pallet in stock. The pallet keeps getting consumed one by one. As the consumption reaches a threshold, the system automatically places an order for further production without anybody having to look at it. Previously, they were doing this, the manual process. Somebody putting a Kanban card, somebody coming every 1 hour, collecting it, counting it, then understanding which stock is where, writing it down if you reach a threshold, going and placing an order. This process, that 1 hour gap, the process works perfectly, actually. Toyota's Poka-yoke and Toyota's process systems are quite strong. It works really well. The only problem was that 1 hour non-real-time data. Because of that, they were holding about 20% buffer inventory to meet the demand of that one-time slack. We changed that 1 hour time delay to 1 second time delay. Because of this, and it was not the intention, but because of it, they eliminated the entire buffer stock. They don't hold any buffers anymore. Every piece of data is real time. Every time they consume it, it's automatically seen. There's no delay. They produce as needed, carrying way more lean processes, lean stocks. And the biggest beneficiary out of this was the plant financial controller, the work in progress inventory stock, or the cost that they were carrying. And an assembly line carrying such 20% cost is huge. Uh, to end the conversation here, right, is I heard a lot, and this is why I added this slide in the end actually, is everybody that I talked to throughout the day, one of the things I heard about was, I have some use cases in mind. How can I track this? How can I track that? And to you as executives, I always say, think about this as an infrastructure, as a foundation for your smart factory or your Industry 4.0 or whatever else you're working on. Think about it like that you will typically start here. Visibility. This is what everybody's talking about today. I want to know where my pallets are, where my forklifts are, and this is what we call it as a seeing stage. This gives you a visibility of what is happening. But immediately when you have data, this is my experience in the last 15 years of doing these projects with every client on the advisory side, is they immediately come to the next stage where they say, I understand, I see what's happening, can I measure it? Can I do OEE, can I do utilization, can I do start time, stop time, dwell time, cycle time, lead time, all these KPIs start flying left and right. Can I measure it so I can understand why did it happen? If something is happening, I want to know why it happened on my shop floor. And once you do that, you come immediately to the next step, is optimization, saying, if it's happening, can you make it happen less? If this is a problem, can we reduce this problem? Can we optimize? But before we go to the next stage, I would talk a little bit on the stage 4, which is, that's one thing is measuring, analytics, which we all are very good at, actually. I've heard that all day in the sessions about analytics and measurement. This also enables automation, what Toyota did. If a pallet is here, do this. If a pallet is there, do this. If 2 forklifts come close to each other, do this. If a person and a forklift come in certain proximity, alert this, record this as a near miss. If there is a lone worker somewhere in a hazardous area, do this. All these automations. If I load this type of a reel or this aluminum reel on the machine, on a slitting machine or whatever, automatically program the machine with the parameters for this specific product, because I know everything about this product that is here. If somebody walks in here, this is a person, he has these certifications and qualifications, climbs on a wrong forklift, lock the forklift because he's not certified to drive this. If somebody goes in this area and they're not allowed to be here, if a product comes here, can you automatically program the machine with the right parameters so we can do changeovers much faster? The quality issues and errors from different things are much faster, are reduced, and much more leaner. So all of these things come in step 4 as well, measurement and automation. And that's when we come to step 5, optimization. One thing I'm hearing a lot more here in India and Asia than I have in Europe or in America, where I sit, is AI. There's a lot of AI, but on the consumer side, in the digital industrial side, there's a lot less tangible AI. And here I hear a lot about AI everywhere. And the question is, if you don't really know, if you don't have that granular data of your shop floor, you're not going to be able to feed anything into these AI models, and the response that you will get will be suboptimal at the best. So you're not going to be able to benefit from anything AI until you have the up to the second, up to the foot or centimeter data on your shop floor of how things are moving. Only then your AI will be able to tell you next morning, this is how production ran. According to me, if you do this, you will be able to improve 1% or 2%, and I'm 80% confident about my suggestion. If you want AI to do that on your shop floor tomorrow, you don't have step 5, you're not going to get anything out of it. AI will be a hollow step. And this is where I would rest my case. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Any questions? Happy to answer.
Do we have any questions for him? We can have a quick one. No worries. We have the booth in the networking area. Thank you so much, Viren, for the wonderful insights and session.